Sherri Warren, how are you doing? Thank you so
I'm
much
well.
for being on the platform. Seeing Uprooted, I was so inspired seeing your brother Keith's story. I had no idea about it. I was never told about it. So seeing that on Max, I was truly blown away. So I appreciate you for you and your family having courage. So, I just had to give you your flowers before we get started.
Well, thank you for even taking time out to watch it. I'm grateful for anybody that takes time out of their schedule um, to watch it and even to look into Keith's story because you know
Yes, ma'am.
that's something.
Yes,
Time is something you'll never get back. So I don't take people's
indeed.
time for granted.
Indeed. Yes, ma'am. One quote in particular from your mother that really it just resonated with me. It sat with me. Your issue is not my issue. However, if you continue to ignore my issue, one day my issue may become your issue. What does that
Mhm.
quote from your mother mean to you?
It's crazy because I did some research a couple years ago and I posted about it. I gotta find it. It's on my Instagram page. Emmett Till's mother said something similar
Hmm.
when she lost her child. And then my mom said it. And then even Sabrina, Trayvon Martin's mom, she had a similar quote. And it's just a quote that's going to probably live on throughout time because I'm not going to say we as a people have short attention spans and they tend to follow the red balloon. I don't know if you're a horror movie person, but remember it and
Yes,
follow
ma'am.
the
I love
yeah.
it. Yeah.
So
And
you know
that's
how
one of my
people
favorite movies.
they follow the balloon. Yeah,
Right.
that's how I think it goes with our culture and our issues. Like
Hmm.
if the news isn't talking about it, we not.
Yes, ma'am.
And unfortunately, because of Keith, I have a very vested interest in this conversation,
Hmm.
and I'm not going to
Yes,
stop
ma'am.
talking about it because the 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 initial actions taken by law enforcement in the very beginning of the investigation to Keith's death, they wanted Keith's story buried with Keith. And
Hmm.
as you know, watching the documentary, and if you go on YouTube, you'll see my mom was very demure, very
Right.
Claire Huxtable. That's
Hmm.
not me. So I never got in my mom's way in how she wanted to handle it. You know, she wanted to be she wanted
Yeah.
to play nice with them, and that's fine. Everybody has their way, emotions, and how they want to do things. That's just not me. So
Hmm.
when she passed, though, and the gloves were off, it
Right.
is what it is. I don't care.
Yes.
I ain't got nothing to lose. And
Yeah.
all I got is the truth to tell. And that's what I'm gonna continue to
Hmm.
do. So
Yes, ma'am.
that's where we are today.
Indeed. Indeed. Why is your brother Keith's story so important till this day? Why should more people know about his story?
Oh, good question. Because this is something that transcends time and it transcends across all cultures. I mean, Keith is just one story that's being told um, across the board when it comes
Hmm.
to how black and brown people's their stories of their deaths are being investigated by law enforcement. I'm
Hmm.
trying to figure out how to summarize to say this in a nice way.
Yes.
So I'm going to use this example. In
Hmm.
1976 in Montgomery County, Maryland, there was a case of two sisters. They were this Sheila and Kate Lyons. Look it up.
Yeah.
There's a whole documentary on it. These were two blonde-haired white girls, little girls, who went missing. Okay, their
Mm.
bodies were never found. They were never. No one ever. What's the word I want to say? No one ever came forward to. What's the word I want to say? No one. They would. No one. No. There was no evidence about their death. Okay,
Wow.
literally, right? They just came up missing. Montgomery County, Maryland Police Department. I'm sorry, I'm being distracted because again, work.
Oh, you're
But
fine. You're fine.
because I got a cold. So Montgomery County, Maryland, did not put um, at the time in '76. They started trying to investigate the case. Okay, like I told you, there was no
Hmm.
bodies, there was no information. They just,
Yeah.
they came up missing. In
Hmm.
2020, or was it 2018? I believe their case was solved. Montgomery
Wow.
County, Maryland put man hours, resources into solving this case with no information, no evidence, no bodies,
Hmm.
just
Right.
off a word of hearsay. Correct?
Hmm.
So, in doing so, it shined a light on how things are handled in Montgomery County. Because in Keith's case, I can show you medically, scientifically, factually, the documents that I got from them, the police, that Keith did not do it. But yet they will not call me back. I have the state of Maryland medical examiner, the medical community, reverse Keith's death certificate. And I cannot get the police chief to call me back. He won't even acknowledge the fact that Keith's death certificate was updated. If you follow my page and if you follow Keith's page, and there's a whole bunch of information, I flood information online. My lawyer actually tried to reach out to the state's attorney's office. And he had to put it in writing. How he literally called me and was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what are you apologizing about? He was like, that 20-minute conversation I just had with the state's attorney's office is disturbing, to say the least. And he had to put it in a letter to them, memorializing the conversation, because he just couldn't believe what he was listening to. So to circle back to your question, until we take seriously and stand 10 toes down on whatever issue it may be that affects our community directly, we're going to continue to keep talking about these conversations. We have to systematically fix it, but I don't know what that looks like. I do know we have to start implementing and being impactful when laws are passed. Like, for example, in regards to Keith's case, there was a mother, her name is Reverend Margaret Morse. Her daughter, Kathleen, was found dead in 2011, Anne Arundel County, Maryland. Side note, Maryland as a state has an issue with the police, their police departments ignoring the laws that are put on books. Let me just start there. And that's facts. That's not something I'm pulling out the atmosphere. So Reverend Morris has been fighting since 2011 to get her daughter, the Anne Arundel, Maryland Police Department, to acknowledge that her daughter's death was not a suicide. She got the death certificate reversed. She even so far as had to go to court last week, right? And the judge ruled in her favor for the most part. But Anne Arundel Police Department, they're ignoring the fact that there is a whole Maryland House Bill 969 that's named after Kathleen Morris, which states that once the medical examiner in the state of Maryland reverses a death certificate, that police department has to investigate that death as whatever it is, right? Anne Arundel and Montgomery County, they believe they're above the law, but they're the law. Yeah. So look that up. That's a whole nother story and a whole nother show.
Indeed, I will. Sherri, in your own personal opinion and thoughts, what do you think Montgomery Police Department is trying to hide, and why are they trying to hide it?
Okay, so let me be very careful how I say this. Allegedly.
Of course.
Because allegedly, in my opinion, I feel like they're either this is two scenarios. They're either protecting somebody. I don't know who that somebody is. Or Keith was collateral damage. Now, Keith was not in any trouble. He never got arrested. He wasn't, I don't even think he had a parking ticket, but that's not to say he wasn't part of something. Like, I wasn't with him 24/7. Matter of fact, I wasn't in state when he passed away. So, but maybe he was hanging out with some people that he wasn't supposed to be, who were protected by the police, who he was collateral damage. Wow. But everything that the detective did up until today shows that that Detective Beasley was protecting somebody, and he was allowed to by his administration to do so. So Detective Beasley basically played God. He destroyed evidence. He manipulated documents. And again, if you want more information, go watch Uprooted, because it goes into great detail. He did. They defamed my mom's character. They tried. The Beasley turned the department against her. That's in their paperwork that I got from them. You know, she was literally out here fighting on her own just to find out what happened to her child. And he did everything in his power to block whatever truth may be revealed. Because when you just for example, sending the body to the funeral home of his choice, Detective Beasley's choice, Keith could have been Muslim. He could have been Jewish. Who does that? But then Montgomery County says to me, oh, that was procedure back then. So then when I asked for copies of the procedure policy handbook, oh, mysteriously there isn't one in the state anymore, because once they update them, they destroy the copy. So there's not one electronic or hard copy from 1986 that will show me that it was policy and procedure that the police department could send bodies to the funeral homes directly. So I hope I answered the question though. Like I said, there's two
You did.
scenarios. He could be,
Wow.
I mean, Keith could have been the Manuel Noriega of Wheaton, Maryland. I don't care. It does not dismiss you not doing your job. If you're a police officer, even today, I still walk up on Montgomery County police officers and I ask about Keith Warren. Because my problem with that is if you carry a badge or wear a uniform and you still standing 10 toes down behind what your raggedy department did, I'm questioning you and your thoughts, your morality, your virtue. I'm questioning you. Like, how can I trust you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So David Fowler, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that so dangerous of having like unchecked power? Because seeing how he was part of Keith's case, but then also in the same doc that he was part of George Floyd's case. Why is that so dangerous?
So the scary part about Fowler, you just Google Dr. Fowler, Maryland, and there are several lawsuits against him. I'm trying to figure out how to answer that question. That's scary. But that's what we are today. Because for me, unfortunately, in reference to Keith's case, every police chief up until since my mom passed away, which was in 2009, and to today, they've all been on the force for at least 35 plus years. So they've been there. They know this story. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you something that I haven't talked about. I found out recently. Matter of fact, I was shocked when I found this out. So the state's attorney, John McCarthy, who will not return my phone call, who won't even won't even talk to me. And I've been trying to get a conversation with him since my mom died. His office, before he became the official state's attorney of Maryland, he worked under Doug Gansler. Doug Gansler, who was state's attorney for Montgomery County, who went on to be the attorney general for Maryland, right? He's in a documentary. He worked under Doug. So he was a part of this grand jury that Doug Gansler convened back in the 90s on Keith's case, right? Mm-hmm. This man's office, now I ain't gonna say it was him, but I'm gonna say when my lawyer spoke to his office in January, had the audacity to say they didn't know nothing about Keith Warren's case. But you worked on it how does the law continue? Right? So again, I don't know what Montgomery County has against Keith Warren and justice for Keith. I don't, because that's one of those questions that I'm gonna continue to ask. Because all roads lead to something was not right. How Keith Warren's death was investigated, right? All roads show you that there's an issue with how Keith's death was investigated. So how is it that everybody else can see it, but you, Montgomery County? And what is it? Is it that they're if they investigate Keith's case, they're gonna have to go back and investigate everything that Detective Beasley did, like open up Pandora's box? I don't know, but that's not my issue. That's not my family's issue. That's not my brother's problem. That's not my mama's problem. That's your issue. That's not mine.
Wow. On what would have been Keith's 25th birthday, I believe, an envelope was dropped off at your home with the pictures. How did you first feel of being privy to this information, to the photographs, all of that? What was that day like? That moment?
I don't remember that day a lot. I do remember seeing the pictures and being like, wait, what? So after you get past the initial trauma of seeing your loved one strung up on a tree, you get okay, he's not even hanging. He's strung up. His feet are not hanging down. The clothing, like that initially literally sets off alarms. It's like the stuff I got downstairs that we got back in 1986 is not what he has on the tree. So to me, the pictures tell a story that wasn't supposed to be told. And I'm going to go back to what I said initially when we first started this interview. Montgomery County, Maryland wanted Keith's story buried with him. And by the grace of God and by the grace of my ancestors, because I truly believe that my mom and my brother have been leading me down this pathway. I don't know what I'm supposed to find, but I'm supposed to find something. I'm supposed to find something. I do believe there's more to this story. Because if it was a simple, oh, we messed up, Detective Beasley did not do his job, okay, but y'all digging in too deep. And see, for me, I say this respectfully, I'm a menace. I really am. And I don't let things go easily. So
Right.
I just want to understand, like, it's not even more so of having someone go to jail at this point. I want to know why Montgomery County feels the fight to fight me to give justice to my brother. What is the end result? Like, for me, it's like, what is my end goal is to clear my brother's name and to get an apology to my mom. That's my end goal, right? Because my mom fought long and hard, and I do believe fighting this case as hard as she did took her to an early grave, right? So, but what's your issue with not trying to admit that something happened? Right? What is it there? What's behind the veil that you don't want me or anybody else to see, that you don't want to admit that something, you don't want to admit publicly? Let me say it that way. Because they'll admit in closed doors, oh, procedure wasn't followed, policy wasn't adhered to, however, ... Right? We'll get the ... But the crazy part about the ... is you change your policies and procedures, but then you don't do anything to help bring closure to Keith's case. So you're changing the policy. I was told in a couple meetings, the policies and procedures were changed because of Keith's case, but yet you don't want to change Keith's case.
Wow.
Make it make sense. So.
Wow. Yes. In the doc too, something else that was very creepy somewhat as well. Mark Finley, Keith's associate, mysteriously dies in a bike accident. Leaves a voicemail, but then he ends up dead. What are your overall thoughts on that case? Mark Finley, potentially holding information, and then he ends up dead. How did you feel about that situation?
Okay, before I go into that description, you can edit this, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we got don't feel like you got to rush. If I'll let you know. I'll do this if I got 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay. So because we can talk. You got 45 minutes because now they done irritated me. So
okay.
Listen, you gonna wait till the last minute. You gonna get to the last minute. I'm gonna let you know I'm not getting on call. I digress.
Listen, I get it.
With Mark Finley. So as you saw in the documentary, those are real tears I cried. I can't remember did they show those. So when they took me, the production team took me to that site. And I'm going to start. So those that are watching, I'm going to start backwards start and end to go back to the beginning. In the docuseries, you'll see me go. That was my first time actually going to the actual location. I heard about it always, but I've never been there. Now, proximity wise, just to give you listeners who like to do, what's the word I want to say? Who are the sleuths, the crime solvers?
Yeah, internet sleuths.
Sleuths. The place where Mark died, the same precinct that covered Keith's death covered his death. Mark literally passed. I don't think the docuseries went into that, because I said it a couple of times trying to get the same precinct, which is no longer there. So anybody's from Maryland, it was right there on Randolph in Georgia, right there on the corner. I think it's a fire department there now, but it used to be the Wheaton Glenmont Point precinct. That precinct was the same precinct that investigated Keith's death. That same precinct, which would probably say the same people, I'm just throwing it out there, investigated Mark's death. Okay?
Wow.
So at the time, Mark's death, Mark supposedly was riding a bicycle. Now, when people say bike, be clear. It wasn't a motored bike. It was a bike, the pedal. God. He was riding a bicycle home at 5 o'clock in the morning, hit a curb, fell off the bike and hit his head. Now, to go back to bring your listeners up, Mark, and I got to get the exact time frame, probably 30 days, 45 days before he died, he called and left a message on our answering machine saying that he needed to come over. He said, "Hello, Miss Warren, this is Mark Finley. I need to come over. I need to unload." I got the message because I came home. I listened to it. I called my mom immediately. She said, "We'll take it to the police station. Call Detective Beasley, take it down there." Oh, of course. What do? Crazy. listen to my mama, take the tape down there. Of course, there's no tape now. Just like the noose is gone, just like the clothing is gone. Everything seems to come up missing when it comes to Keith's case, but I digress. I gave that tape to Detective Beasley, well, probably the clerk at the front desk to give to Beasley. So after that call, that message, Mark comes up dead. Now, if you've watched the video, I'm walking down a hill to a bike path. Now, Mark was only about maybe 5 minutes from his house because he lived in that area, which again is 5 minutes from the Wheaton Glen. I'm going to keep saying that, the Wheaton Glenmont precinct. So my mom's private investigator in the 90s, Joe Alertia, he spoke to the paramedics that were on the scene of Mark's bike accident. And they signed an affidavit, a state sealed notarized affidavit stating that Mark's body was found behind his bike. Okay. That the injury sustained to Mark were not those of hitting a curb. Okay. The documentation is on the KeithWarrenJusticeSite.com. So I'm not going to go into too much more detail because I don't want to spend too much time on here. But unfortunately, I believe that Mark died because I alerted whoever was at that precinct who was covered up Keith's death. I think personally, and I'm speaking for me, allegedly, whoever was working at that precinct had to get to Mark because Mark was a weak link.
Yeah, indeed. Sherri, do you ever think that any of Keith's friends might finally build up some courage and speak up, or do you think that they've already picked their side and it's
I think
already
they
done?
pick their side. I think they're gonna wait till they go to whatever God they believe in that
Right.
next life to deal with whatever they got to deal with. I do hope Karma has an address though and shows
I
up
like
before
that.
that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hold that thought. Because for me, even if Keith's friends, so here's the thing about Keith's friends, and I'm not going to mention any names because, as I've stated
Right.
in previous videos, because if you go to Justice for Keith, spelled Justice number 4 for Keith, I talk about that. Some of his friends like to lawyer up. So if you mention their name and Keith's name, then they will, defamation of character, or you're trying to incriminate them. So they try to sue you. Yeah. So I tried to mention them directly, but I'll say this. My mom was very adamant when she said, so Keith left the house on a Tuesday.
Right.
Okay. He didn't come home Tuesday night. When he did not come home Wednesday, my mom tried to file a police report, missing persons report, and they told her she couldn't do it. She had to wait 48 hours. So that night she called a person who I'm not going to mention his name because he actually filed a complaint against her. She called who we thought was one of his best friends who always used to be in my house on my phone or in my refrigerator. She called him and he said, I know where he is. I'm going to go get him. Then the next day he's found on the tree. So with that being said, I'm going to let you, again, you crime sleuths, y'all put 2 and 5 together and see what you come up with because I get 7 every time, but I digress. So I don't know if his friends were directly involved or they have information, but it's really weird. After he died, nobody came by, nobody called, nobody reached out to my mother. The one time they all as a group came together was after I embarrassed them at a mall. Because, again, I told you I wasn't my mama. I was running up on people and doing crazy stuff. Yes, I was. Admit to it and still do. And I said to them, why can't you call my mama? Why can't you offer? She lost her son, your friend. Why can't you come cut the grass? Why can't you come ask if she needs some help? Then all of a sudden, they all grew as a group. Now, mind you, I had to leave the house. I couldn't stay with my mom. She's like, you need to find somewhere to go. Because I can't. She's like, you will not be able to. Which was good. She was smart. She's our child. So I had to leave. So I don't know what happened. She told me, I can't remember exactly. It wasn't nothing eventful in that meeting, but that was the only one and only time his friends, I'm gonna call them associates, came by or called after he passed away.
Man, what drives you every single day to keep fighting for your brother's legacy, your mother's legacy? What drives you every single day?
Well, so for me, it's kind of twofold. One, as you can tell, my mouth got me in a lot of trouble when I was little. So Keith used to have to fight a lot of my battles. I'm okay with that. And so I knew he was fighting for me when he was here. So I'm gonna fight for him while he's gone. So for me, one, fighting for truth and accountability.
Mm.
Truth, justice, and accountability in his death, because somebody got away with murder. And with regards to my mom, I had to sit and watch her for 23 years of her life suffer through the death of her child. I had to watch every day a piece of her life drained from her, you know, mourning her child. And it shouldn't have been that hard. It really shouldn't have been that hard. But, you know, listen, life deals you a hand and you got to play it. And that's what I'm doing. And I feel like I've gotten a lot of conversation. So I feel like, and my mom, and I have friends that have known me for years. I never wanted to be in front of the camera. I was like, my mom is the face of it. I want her to be great. I don't want to get in her way. So when she passed away, though, I felt like, okay, in order for me to get this out, I have to start. So I've gradually gotten to the process of, you know, talking about it, getting out there, giving information. And in doing so, I've had a lot of families reach out to me, dealing with the same things that I've dealt with regard to Keith's death, what they're fighting for, right? So, and I even wrote a book. It's called God Accepts Difficult Times, right? Because I want people to understand there is no manual when it comes to fighting for your loved one. There is no guidelines to say this is how you do it. And so the book I wrote was more so to help people who's starting in their journey to understand you have to do self-help mental checks. You have to listen, I got a best friend she's my sounding board, but she's not a therapist. Matter of fact, she's gonna put both of us in jail. We fucking around, found out. So, so you should get talking to friends is good, but talk to someone who's trained. My mom, thank God, put me in counseling at the onset of this. And I've been in counseling ever since. So there's nothing wrong with it. That stigma, that shame, people want to, okay, yeah, whatever. Call me crazy then. You better be glad I'm going to this therapy session, because you may seem crazy. But I started to say, Keith's story has motivated me to help others. And doing so, I am helping others in his name. You know, like I said, I've helped people understand that as soon, like for Maryland, my mom didn't know that there was a statute of limitations in order to request to get a death certificate changed, right? Wow. Now, going back to what I said earlier in the conversation about know the laws, there's another House Bill 863, which I testified for. House Bill 863, which was passed in 2023, basically states in Maryland that it pushes out, and Reverend Morris was the architect of that, by the way. Go read her story, again, read her story. She was the architect behind that, because in Maryland, I think you had 90 days to challenge a lawsuit. Now you have 6 months. Because in any state, and anybody watching this, you take for granted that I got all this time to start questioning things after the fact. You don't realize that during them first 30 to 60 days, you mourning the death of your loved one. You got to bury them. You got to take care of their estate. You got to get your life together. You're not thinking, oh, wow, I got to do this before this time. So luckily we pushed, they got that changed. And then when House Bill 969, which, states that the medical examiner, when they reverse the cause of death, the police have to investigate it. Laws are so important that people need to be mindful of. And that's how they get us. See, they think that we don't read. They think that we don't pay attention. And they think that we are just going to accept things for what they are, because we don't. And again, I'm different. I say this every day to people. I have a different tenacity about me. I'm built different. So everybody's not me, but everybody who's fighting for a loved one is me, right? We all want the same thing. We want to know the truth. And at the time when my mom was fighting for Keith, she couldn't get a lawyer in Maryland. Nobody. She had to go outside of DC. And then he did some corrupt stuff, and that's another conversation. But she didn't know she had I think the statute back there was 3 years to file a civil rights lawsuit against the police department that Keith's civil rights was violated because he didn't get a fair, just inquiry into his death, right? I think it was 3 years back then. I gotta look that up. But whatever reason, the lawyer filed the case after the statute of limitations. So that left her with no legal recourse. And that's, again, how the system gets you. You have to know the system in order to work the system. And that's what I'm definitely learning. And it's not something that you can just say, I'm going to do it for 2 months and stop. No, it's got to be a consistent cycle. For me, I wake up every morning and I literally pray to my ancestors, give me some thoughts about how I'm messing with them today. What we doing today? Literally, what we doing today? Give me some thoughts. Even though the last couple of months since I got my lawyer, which he's a godsend, he asked me to sit on my hands. Because literally I would wake up every day thinking, how am I going to F with them today? He was like, I need you to sit on your hands. Which, whoo, if you don't know my personality by now, boy, edibles have been a blessing. God bless America. I digress. Yeah, that's a struggle because I've been doing this by myself for so long that relinquishing power to somebody else is kind of hard. You know, I got trust issues. On a video I posted yesterday because somebody tried to scam me. And that's another thing. I cannot stand people who take advantage of another person's pain or another person's, I don't know what word I'm looking for. Whatever their situation is, I can't stand people take advantage of people. That just bothers me. So, yeah.
Indeed. Sherri, thank you so much for your time. Very last question. How can all the internet sleuths, people who are viewers of Uprooted, help bring justice for Keith Warren's case?
So, okay, because we got time. Let me go back. And I say this with all due reverence and respect. I don't know if we'll ever find out what happened to Keith. And I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Detective Beasley destroyed every piece of physical evidence that an unbiased person could come back and look into. And so when I say that, again, go watch Uprooted, but he cut the tree down, right? He cut the tree down to get to the branch. Supposedly, this is what was told to me. And the branch could tell you which way the road burns are going. Well, if he's cutting the tree down for evidence, where's the evidence? There is no pictures of this tree. There's no information about this tree. There is no any information about the branch. And then the branch is destroyed because he then collected the branch, took the branch into police custody, put it into a locker, which is all documented through Montgomery County. Then that branch is destroyed in a warehouse fire. So there is no branch. Wow. He sends Keith's body to the funeral home of his choice. So there's no autopsy. He then changes the clothes. So the clothing that Keith has on the tree is not the clothing he left the house in. It's not the clothing we got back in 1980s, the clothing I got in my possession today. But for the internet sleuths, I'm going to give you a little, a little candy. The clothing that I have in my basement that was Keith's, where did Officer Leverett or Detective Beasley get them from? And how did they know to give that back to us in 1986? Because remember, we didn't know his clothes were changed until 94, until we got the pictures. So how did they know to destroy the stuff that he had on? No, how did he know to destroy the things that he had on while he was on the tree and give us back what we would recognize? Right? So I'm going to help you out. Wherever he died is where they got them clothes from. Because Montgomery County tried to tell me they were around his body. But then witnesses say there was no clothing around his body. So you want to tell me he took a change of clothes to go hang himself? Really? Because he wanted to be casket sharp? Interesting. Okay. So we got the rope. We got, the police lost the noose. So in relation to the conversation about the evidence. So the funeral home, and it's in their paperwork through their internal investigation, through the FOIA that I got, MPIA, the funeral home director or funeral home person cut Keith's body off the tree. When he cut Keith's body off the tree, Keith still had no noose around his neck. I got the rope. It's in the basement. That's what you see in the documentary. That's what you see on our message. We never got back the noose. My mom kept asking for the noose. Then the noose comes up missing. Now, in their paperwork, the chief of police at the time didn't want the noose released to her. The noose could tell you a right-handed or left-handed person tied it. And then the noose came up missing. So now there's no noose. So let's go back. We didn't, no autopsy. He changes his clothes. He cuts the tree down. They lose the noose. Oh, and then last on the coroner's report, they tried to argue my mom for a while that the coroner was there. The coroner never showed up. No one medical with a medical background outside the paramedic examined my brother's body. So the coroner in his report, which is on the .com, stated that he had spoke to victim's sister. Sister said he was missing for a week. First of all, Keith only had one sister. And secondly, I was not in the state of Maryland at the time. Right. So who'd you talk to? So anyway, I say all that to say, to answer your question, at this point, it's just getting Montgomery County to acknowledge that they messed up. It's getting to a place where they give my mom a formal public apology for what they put her through. Right. And for me, it's just about helping others fight the justice system.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sherri, thank you so much for your time. On the way out, where can everybody follow you, support the movement, donate, all that good stuff? Tap in with you.
Let's see. TikTok is Justice, number 4, Keith. Mm-hmm. I got Keith W. Warren on Facebook. I got the Keith Warren Justice site, site.com. Then I have the foundation, which is a .org that has, it's in Keith's name, but it's not about getting justice for Keith. It's about helping others navigate the judicial system. And as a matter of fact, that's why I give the books away depending on who it is. I do, if you need a copy and if you can't afford it. Because I know, listen, my mom had to file bankruptcy twice fighting this case, so I get it. Twitter is Justice for Keith. Everything pretty much is Justice for Keith. So.
Yes. And Sherri Warren, again, thank you so much. Keep fighting. That documentary was absolutely amazing. So thank you for all the work that you've been doing and that, of course, we know you will continue to do. So thank you.
No, thank you for giving me your platform.
Yes, ma'am.
I take nothing for granted for people who wanted to continue to keep story and the conversation. Because for me, yes, again, like I told you, time is currency for me. And for you to give me this time, listen, thank you.
Hey, same here. Same here. Have a good one. Enjoy the vanity, all the setups, all that good stuff. And you have a good one.
Thank you. Hold on. Don't end the call. I'm sorry. You can end this. You could end it.
Oh, for sure. Hey, I got you. Look, I'm not gonna do you dirty. I got you. I'm gonna take all that out.
They were doing all that right. Again, they've been quiet the whole week. Now all of a sudden,
I didn't hear nothing. I didn't hear nothing. I promise you. Hey, we good. We're good. I promise you. And this episode, it should probably be posted by Friday. So once it's up, I'll make sure to share it with you.
Yeah, just tag me now. Are you on TikTok? Because
yes,
it's interesting. I'm getting a lot of traction on TikTok.
TikTok is where it's at. TikTok has like the best algorithm. Keep posting, keep story on TikTok because there's so many sleuths on TikTok. It's amazing.
Well, here's the thing though. I'm gonna go back. And I will say this off camera. So if you look at the pictures, there's a person standing behind Keith's body with his shirt off.
The shirt off, yep.
He tried to sue. He's still around, by the way. Oh. So in a docuseries, I think sometimes they kind of missed it. He was the one. So I don't know. His name is Alan. I don't know how he got there, but the police initially asked Alan to ID Keith's body. Now, Alan knew Keith, right? But Alan didn't want his name on the police report. He ran to the clubhouse. That's how Rodney told me. Because I asked Rodney, if you were at the clubhouse, how did you get back to the scene? He said Alan came to the clubhouse, brought him back to the scene to ID Keith's body because he didn't want his name on the police report. And nobody thought that was weird. And then when Channel 7 aired the photos back in the 90s, Alan tried to sue Channel 7. Wow. Yeah. And then the friend who I told you tried to sue my mom, his name was mentioned in a note. And so my mom tried to tell him, listen, there was a threat. I don't write vague threat, but I'm just telling you what was told to me. He went to the police department and filed a whole police report against her for harassment.
Y'all are the family of the victim, and to sue the family of the victim.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, listen, I don't get a lot of things in this story. And like I told you, I don't know. And I talk to Keith every day. I be like, nigga, I don't know what you was into. I don't understand what you were into, but whatever you was into, they really trying to cover it. It's something serious because that's why I think he was collateral damage. I said he could have been a what do you call it? Undercover, what do you call it? An informant?
Yep.
Maybe he was undercover, or maybe he was working with somebody. Because I think Mark was working with Mark was something. Because the night before we found Keith's body, and I said this in a documentary, Mark came through the neighborhood like a bat out of hell looking for Keith.
Yeah.
Right. And witnesses say those two different descriptions. One was he was trying to find Keith to go hang out, maybe, and the other one was to warn Keith. But him and Keith weren't friends like that.
Wow.
And he ain't never been to my house or on
Yeah,
my phone.
Mark, seeing that on the documentary, that was creepy. Like what? Very next day? Yeah.
I'm gonna keep emphasizing the same police department
Right.
that covered Keith's death and investigated Keith's death, investigated Mark's death. And now that department does not exist. Well, that precinct is gone.
Doesn't exist for a reason. I'm telling you, post this stuff on TikTok. All the clips, I'll make sure to post on TikTok too. But TikTok is a very, very good resource.
Oh, yeah. Because one guy posted it, and I think I got like 500 hits, 500,000 hits.
You see what I'm saying?
I was like, what the hell? But, and I didn't even know, it was unsolicited. So I was like, listen,
yeah. And that's how it goes.
I'm a thorn in their shoe. I just want to keep talking. Because the more we talk about it, the more it keeps getting talked about, the more you can't run from it. But one more point that I want to make that I'm very disappointed in. I've been trying to get to Governor Moore's office. I've emailed, I've called, I literally just sent a follow-up letter again today, and I'm going to do a public one in a minute. I even talked to his first assistant directly, and I can't get a response back. Now, this man is supposed to be the man of the people.
Yeah, black. Yeah. Hey, we already know how that goes.
Listen, I said at this point, I might have to call Governor Hogan, the old one, because that old white man may do more for me than the governor. I don't know. It's just wild that, it's just, and it's unfortunate. She's fighting it. And even all of our black leaders, I hit Al Sharpton. You name the black leader, I reached out to them.
And they don't want to touch it.
They ain't call me back. Ben Crump was even invited to participate in the docuseries.
Look, especially not him.
It ain't no money in it. Yeah, ain't no money.
Yep, there you go. You said the same.
I literally told the producers, I said he's not going to participate. They was like, no, he's seen that. I said he okay, we're gonna do this again because you clearly ain't, he's not, y'all ain't giving him no money. Right. He ain't participating. And it's unfortunate, but that's where we are. I reached out to Tamika Mallory and them, nothing. You name it, I have reached out. And that's for me, it's like if you hear, stop chasing the cameras and chase these actual real stories, because Reverend Morris has been fighting for her daughter. Literally, we just had a court case. The county of Anne Arundel County was trying to sue her. It was something weird. But anyway, she's like me. She's not giving up. And the judge ruled in her favor. The judge basically told Anne Arundel County, you need to change reclassify her daughter's death. Y'all figure it out. He said, I'll give you my chambers to work it through. But you clearly see where I was in the courtroom. You clearly see what direction I'm going in. So I go back to say, and this is for you in talking to anybody in your listening audience, learn the justice system in your state and affect change that way. Get laws named out. Get to know your delegates, your representatives, your whoever's. And that's what Reverend Morris did. And she pulled me in, and thank God, because I've been able to help implement laws and testify in favor of, different laws to help other families in the future in my mom's memory and Keith's name. So, yeah.
You are a legend, though. Sherri, keep doing what you're doing. I'm telling you, because it is needed. So I felt very inspired by you, man. I resonated with you about not playing it nice, being a menace. So, hey, I feel
only one thing though, I have to say, my uncles would not let my grandma watch it because they said you did a lot of cussing in there. I said, what?
They look out of respect.
Because I think one of my uncles was like, you said I did call motherfuckers at the end of one of them. I said I sure did.
I don't blame you.
Again and again.
I don't blame you.
It's
warranted.
I'm gonna say this because I'm gonna say this to you too. If anything happened to me, you motherfuckers better be burning some shit down in Montgomery County.
Listen, hey, we got you. We got you. Look, we take that as a direct order.
Y'all hear anything? You hear R.I.P. Sherri Warren? Y'all
something ain't right.
You better get them.
Something ain't right. No, I got you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Sherri. Thank you.
All right, you have a good day.
All right, you too. I'll stay in touch.